Hello, this is 5 on 20 News, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. I'm Pablito.
And I'm Tyler. First in local headlines.
Tucson City Council's weekly mayor and council meeting was more packed than usual as Tucson residents packed into City Hall to discuss a plan to knock down 4th Avenue mainstay Flycatcher. The popular bar was sold last month and is planned to be replaced by a 7-story building for families and student housing. At least a half a dozen residents spoke against the plan, claiming the high-rise would ruin the unique culture of 4th Avenue and could create traffic and parking problems. Residents complained that the company building the high-rise are from Memphis and that money would end up leaving the community. They also said that while the high-rise isn't meant for student housing, although the high-rise isn't meant for student housing, that's who's going to end up living there. Students often leave Tucson during the winter and the summer breaks, leaving Tucson empty during those periods. Others spoke of how the building would house over 250 units, but only provide 100 parking spots, which would result in more people taking up street parking spots on 4th Avenue. Elizabeth Mead, owner of the 4th Avenue's Silver Sea Jewelry, said that scant parking was already a reason why people don't come to the downtown area and said that the high-rise would make problems worse. She said that it's strange to ask for a city to pave over a paradise and put up a parking lot, but that's what we're asking. Mead was one of a group of business owners who spoke and requested that the city instead build a parking garage in the Flycatcher spot. Mead also said that the high-rise could potentially have negative economic effects on the city because 4th Avenue has become a tourist spot for out-of-towners. She said that we tell people to come to historic 4th Avenue, but if the high-rise goes up, that's going to be a lie. The council meeting ended with Councilman member Paul Cunningham recommending that the council engage in a study session to analyze the impact of the high-rise. The crowd cheered as Cunningham made the last-minute announcement, with the cheering spilling out into the outside streets.
Students at City High School in downtown Tucson organized a walkout yesterday to protest what they say is an underwhelming amount of legislation put in place to restrict gun violence in the U.S. The event was started out by student Fran Howard and led by Milo Learling, who, along with fellow students, organized the event a day earlier. Students marched from City High School on East Pennington to the District Court building on Congress. It began as a silent protest but ended with chants of "No more silence in gun violence." The crowd chanted as they marched the streets, holding up signs urging lawmakers to come up with solutions to the problem of gun violence in the U.S. Once at the court building, the students sat and lied down while staying silent. The walkout was supported by City High Teachers Administration, who joined the students along the walk. Tucson police were given advance notice of the protest, and there were safety officers on hand to make sure that the marchers were safe. Here's some footage of the City High walkout.
Hey, great job, guys. Great activism. Right on. Gun control.
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
End the silence, no more violence!
End the silence, no more violence! No more silence and gun violence! No more silence and gun violence! What do we want?
Justice!
What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
The walkout was part of a growing movement of high school students demanding laws that address the gun problem. Students at Mesa and Gilbert. Our high schools also organized in their own walkout yesterday, and even a wider reach nationally. Walkout is set for March and April. School districts in states such as Texas and Wisconsin have issued warnings that students will be suspended if they participate in these walkouts. Despite the amazing organization skills and shows of peaceful protests being displayed in the past weeks by the people, some conservative media stars have chosen to be condescending. Some conservative media stars have chosen to be condescending towards those who are engaging in their First Amendment rights. On Tuesday, conservative author Dinesh D'Souza tweeted about the survivors of last week's Florida shooting who had traveled to the state house, but were disappointed when lawmakers chose to table a discussion on assault weapons and ban. D'Souza tweeted that this was the worst news since their parents told them to get summer jobs. Hardy har. Keep in mind, D'Souza's job is to write this trash on Twitter. As a result, D'Souza was booted from speaking at this year's CPAC conference, the largest gathering of conservative groups in the country. D'Souza reportedly will be instead spending the week coming up with hilarious Tide Pod memes.
Oh, those are my favorite, you know, like just every day a new Tide Pod meme comes out and I just wake up happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat Tide Pods all the time. Nothing happened to me.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why these kids are complaining or why these parents are complaining, you know? Cleans out your digestive tract.
Yeah, makes my poop purple.
Yeah. We don't support people eating Tide Pods. All right. A resolution that would have allowed teenagers to run for state office was defeated yesterday in House committee. Yeah. The resolution would have amended the state constitution to allow 18-year-old citizens to run for state legislation, judicial officials, and even governor. Currently, under the Constitution, individuals need to be 25 or older to run for state legislation and governor, and 30 to run for state judicial position. The bill was introduced in February and passed the House Appropriations Committee by a 7-6 margin. However, yesterday the bill failed to pass the House Rules Committee with a 2-4 vote. 3 of the members of the committee abstained on voting. Under pressure, the committee eventually revealed that they voted against the bill because they didn't want to be shown up by a teenager. Again. After the committee reportedly locked down the House doors and proceeded to chow down on some Tide Pods. See? They know what they're doing. You know? Lock down the house, have some Tide Pods, maybe a little bit of wine. Yeah.
You know, Gain makes laundry pods also. Gain?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are they good or are they just knockoffs?
They're better.
They're better?
They're better.
Okay.
I encourage kids to start eating Gain pods. A tentative deal was reached over the death of a mentally ill man who was allegedly beaten and shot with a stun gun while imprisoned in a jail run by former Maricopa Sheriff Joe Arpaio. The amount of the settlement wasn't revealed to the public, but the figure is expected to be released on March 7th, during March 7th meeting where county officials will decide whether or not to approve the number. The deal relates to a 2011 incident where Ernest Atencio was arrested by Phoenix police on a misdemeanor charge after he frightened the woman by yelling at her and kicking at the door. The officers reportedly had an altercation with the same man earlier in the same day and concluded that his behavior was due to a mental illness, not intoxication. The lawsuit accused a Phoenix police officer of attacking Atencio after he refused to take off one of his shoes. It states that the officers formed a dog pile on top of Atencio before a sheriff's officer shot at him with a taser. It also states that another officer struck Atencio as other officers held him down. Finally, the lawsuit alleges that officers taunted Atencio for not being able to follow directions and encouraged him to make funny faces when his mugshot was taken. If the settlement is accepted, it would resolve claims against Arpaio and his jail officers. However, Phoenix police officers would not be off the hook. The case is one of multiple lawsuits launched against Arpaio, who is now running for senator of Arizona. One case resulted in the county and its insurance carrier to pay out $8.25 million to a settlement lawsuit alleging that Arpaio's officers forced an inmate into a restraint chair and pushed his head into his chest, causing the inmate's death. Arpaio is truly the gift that keeps on giving. State officials are already storing away a legal fund in case Arpaio gets elected senator. I love dog piles. That sounds fun.
Yeah, like a pile of German Shepherds, a pile of like puppies, like.
What? No, you never heard of a dog pile? It's when everyone just jumps on one person, you yell, dog pile, and you jump on him.
Oh yeah, I heard that was planned for my friend's birthday. Haven't seen them since. Arizona Representative Andy Briggs said that the Florida school shooting that killed at least 17 last week should not be politicized and that the shooting should be investigated first. In an interview with KTAR Briggs said that both sides need to quit politicizing this thing, whether it's blaming the FBI or being distracted with other issues or before you got distracted. Briggs said that there were procedural problems that allowed a 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz to obtain an AR-15 style assault rifle despite warnings from the FBI from fellow students. Warnings to the FBI from fellow students. In the interview, Briggs said that my position is let's find out what's happening here. There are places in the world that have very few shootings. Yes, Andy, and those places have gun control in place.
When I was a kid, my uncle took me out in the woods and he let me shoot a deer.
Was it a deer or was it his deer? Because those are two very different things.
No, I don't think it was his deer.
Okay.
We ate it. We cooked it first.
Well, I would assume.
We didn't just take a bite out of it.
Have you ever tried that before?
No, are you crazy?
A little bit. Okay.
Arizona Senator Jeff Flake will try and pass a stopgap measure to extend protections for immigrants covered under the DACA, which is supposed to expire March 5th. The Obama-era program protects immigrants who were brought to the United States when they were children, and which was overturned by the Trump administration last year. 4 bills to address the issue failed last Friday, causing the mood in Congress to dampen on the hopes that they could pass a bill before the program expires. Flake's plan would include a 3-year extension of DACA and $7.6 billion for border security. Under the Senate's rules, Flake will need every senator to agree to schedule a vote on the stopgap bill. Any senator can object to a vote and scrap the plan. Flake admitted that his plan was far from a perfect solution, but would at least provide a temporary fix, which is kind of how we run our government these days. Government slam. Meanwhile, Republican Senators John Thune, Rob Portman, and Jerry Moran are planning to unveil their own bill, which would provide protection for the current DACA recipients and $25 billion in border security. Both measures may fall short for Democrats, who have demanded that a DACA bill include a path to citizenship for immigrants covered under the program. If those bills don't work, there's also a backup to the backup plan, which would give DACA recipients $100 and a one-way ticket to California and provide $100 billion for border security.
$25 billion for border security. Yeah, you know it's better than schools, because...
The $100 sounds pretty sweet, though. I could use that.
Yeah, I really think that's probably the best plan. Like,
I wish I had $100.
I mean, I've been living on $15 for a few weeks now. I mean, with $100, they could buy themselves like a ukulele and go busking.
You have $15? Let me borrow $5.
I mean, not on me. I buried it. It's worth too much in this economy to have on you. I've got about 15 cents on me, which will give me a nice lunch, but next time.
You can't get lunch for 15 cents.
You don't know where to find lunch then. The Arizona House of Representatives blocked any debate to ban bump stocks on Tuesday, the same day that the president directed the Justice Department to implement a nationwide ban. Bump stocks are used to modify a rifle to fire automatically. It was used in the Los Angeles shooting in October. After the shooting, there was much discussion of banning the tool, with even the NRA giving tepid support for a ban. However, Massachusetts ended up being the only state to ban bump stocks, and the issue faded away. But in the aftermath of the Florida shooting, Trump announced on Tuesday that he supports a ban and is directing the Justice Department to carry it out. The proposed regulations would first have to be published in the Federal Register to be subjected to public comment before the ban is adopted. But in Arizona, none of that matters because the House blocked any discussion about a ban with a 34-25 vote. Every Republican in the House opposed putting the measure up for vote. Republican Representative Mark Finchem argued that guns aren't... Finchem. Oh, I was mixing up with my cousin Mark Finchman.
Mark Finchem.
Okay, Mark Finchem. Argued that guns aren't the problem, instead blamed video games instead, which he said teach our children to kill. Makes sense. Republican Kelly Townsend blamed a culture that allows abortion, stating that a culture of death where it's okay if you have an unwanted pregnancy to go ahead and kill that child was to blame for the school shooting. This culture of violence and argument curiously didn't include the fact that our military is currently bombing 9 different countries right now, and we're taught to worship people in uniform who kill brown people. But no, it's probably the video games. Meanwhile, in Arizona, the legislature approved a bill that protects bankrupt citizens from losing their guns. So the lesson here is if these school children want protection from our state legislature, this is why they defund education. They should bankrupt gun owners. The legislature approved by a law that would allow the Koch brother-funded Freedom Schools to create a curriculum for K-12 schools. Great. So now our state's school children will be unsafe from both violence and free market propaganda. Well done, Arizona. You know, that public education is not cutting it. Like, I can't go for a minute without talking weird.
Oh, yeah, but did you hear about that Trump band? That's gonna be crazy. I bet he plays bass.
Oh, man. Are you sure he's a bass guy?
No, but
Like,
give me a Trump band. I think he'd probably play bass, right? He seems like a bassist.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Pro-government forces in Syria have continued to attack the rebel-held city of Ghouta, killing at least 250 people since Sunday. The strikes prompted France to condemn Syria, describing the attacks as a serious violation of international humanitarian law. The British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that the attack resulted in the highest 48-hour death toll since 2013's chemical attack in the same area. Ghouta is one of the last rebel-held areas in the country. 5 hospitals were bombed during the attack, which the UN said may amount to war crimes. The U.S. State Department said that they were deeply concerned by the rising violence in the area and supported a UN call for a month-long ceasefire. This would allow for the delivery of aid and emergency evacuation of civilians. The civilians will likely be relocated to Europe, where they're sure to receive a warm welcome.
ceasefire? That sounds like gun control. Are you sure that's gonna work?
I don't know. I don't know what most of those words are.
Yeah, they didn't teach me this in non-Koch funded education.
Yeah, I dropped out of school.
Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin said that Tuesday he had permission from the White House to root what he referred to as a subversion among his staff. Shulkin's new chief of staff, Peter, is reportedly meeting with each VA staffer to investigate whether they are purposely opposing Shulkin's policies. Shulkin has come under pressure in recent days after Inspector General report found that he improperly used taxpayer money during a trip to Europe. The report found that Shulkin used the official trip to go sightseeing and had taxpayer dollars pay for his trip to Europe. The most surprising part is that Trump administration staffer would be so cultured. In his defense, Shulkin claims that he paid the government back for the expensive, hopefully not with souvenirs from Europe. I mean, the mugs are pretty nice. Yeah, like the ones that say
like a coffee mug.
Yeah, it's like a coffee mug, and it has like the flag embroidered on it.
Yeah.
Because the European flag is very. They do that. Like in the United States, we have an American flag like on everything. Mm. That's what they do in Europe with all the different flags.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more.
You get excited by simple stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what my education taught me.
Dozens of survivors of the Florida school shooting traveled to the state capitol on Tuesday to lobby for a ban on assault rifles. But soon after their arrival, Florida lawmakers rejected an attempt to even consider a bill that would ban the rifles. The Florida House voted 36-71 against a motion to consider the bill, which would kill the bill for the current legislative session ending on March 9th. The move was overshadowed by an announcement by the White House to direct the Justice Department to review the regulations on bump stocks. Meanwhile, Florida lawmakers won't debate an assault weapon ban. They voted to approve a debate on a bill that would declare pornography a threat to public health. So in review, military weapons, cool. Looking at adult private parts, dangerous. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, that's why they're getting rid of sex education in school. You know, just abstinence, just say abstinence over and over, and kids will get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and if they go bankrupt, they still have their guns.
Yeah, you still have your guns.
Yeah, so even if you do have a kid, you go bankrupt, you're not going to lose your guns. You're going to be
Yeah,
good.
I don't think kids can buy guns though.
I mean, we've seen different. The president wants to once again cut a program that would provide energy assistance to the poor and elderly, according to his budget proposal released last week. The administration argued that the program is overrun with fraud and that no one would freeze if the program were to end. Well, as long as it's not winter. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, helps families pay for heating bills by issuing grants sent directly to utility companies or heating fuel vendors. Last year, Trump tried to cut the program but ran up against the resistance from both parties. Supporters of the program say that it is essential for the elderly, disabled, and others on fixed incomes. Dwayne told the Associated Press that he had no idea how to survive the winter without the program, despite being a Trump supporter. He said that he wouldn't vote for Trump again if he eliminates the program, and that he hopes the president has a change of heart. Silly man, he doesn't have a heart.
Oh.
Ooh, cold.
Yeah. I didn't vote for Trump, but I'm not registered to vote.
You're not registered to vote?
Yeah, I don't know how to register.
I mean, I looked it up once, but it had something to do with being a legal citizen,
Yeah.
so.
Well, it looks like Kentucky's 49th district had a case of buyer's remorse yesterday because Democrat Linda Bleacher was elected to Kentucky's House of Representatives a little over 1 year after being voted out during the Republican sweep of Congress in 2016. Belcher reclaimed her seat by more than double the votes of her opponent, Republican Rebecca Johnson. Belcher lost her seat in 2016 by only 150 votes, even though Trump garnered 72% of the vote compared to Hillary's 23%. The special election was held to replace former state representative Dan Johnson, who killed himself last year after being accused of sexual abuse against a member of his congregation. I did not see that going this way. Johnson was a pastor at a local church. Johnson denied the allegations but killed himself days later. Oh my God. Now a Democrat is in the office and Johnson is in hell. So justice served. Don't you love happy endings? That was a crazy one.
Yeah, I did not.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Should we end it?
I think that's the only sort of note that.
Let's go out there.
All right.
This was 5 on 20 News.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
My name is Rich.
My name is Xavier.
And don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, all the social media stuff. We need your likes.
And email us at info. Email us at info.
Yeah. Email InfoWars. Tell them about all the things you love about Creative Tucson. You know?
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Yeah,
Send
that's
them an
Alex.
email.
Which one of us is Alex Jones?
Alex Jones is Alex Jones.
Are you sure?
And thank you for watching, and stay creative, Tucson. Bye.